Welcome to the Red V TV show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2025 season. And we are back yet again. And this time, Kevin, it's our number 32.
It's Ciaran Nolan, and Ciaran is sponsored by Liam Kirkham Technical Services.
Ciaran Nolan. If he has any sort of success, you will know about it because he will have the most misspelt name on social media.
He will. He will. Don't know how you can spell Nolan wrong, but someone will.
It'll be Kieran with a K. We'll have every possible combination of names. So, Mr. Nolan, that is your aim to get your name misspelt.
Definitely. Definitely.
You can guarantee poor Kieran rings up for car insurance and says, Kieran, Ciaran.
Yes, exactly. Possibly that using the is it the phonetic alphabet, Charlie, India, and all that palaver, having to spell it all out for people. But listen, let's hope we're not talking about the spelling of his name. Let's hope we're talking about how good his 2025 goes.
Yes. So, like Alfie Sinclair yesterday, here's another product of Ryland Sharks over in Warrington. That's Saints. I've gone and raided because obviously he wanted to have a decent academy experience, so we brought him to St. Helens. Uh, sorry, I'm on the wind up already. I shouldn't start this early in the year, should I?
Say it long.
Um, Originally a halfback in his early days, switched to hooker when he joined the Saints scholarship, progressed through the 16s, was part of the Academy Championship winning team in 2023. And again, like Alfie, went out last season on dual reg. Kieran went to Swinton and made his professional debut. And another one who's impressed the coaching staff and been rewarded with a squad number this year.
Yeah. And I think that Swinton experience is, I mean, it sounds like a 1970s prog rock band, but the Swinton experience is good for these players. Getting them out there, I think I mentioned it yesterday with Alfie, going playing against the older heads who are going to try and get under your skin, try and knock you off your game, try and kind of roughhouse you a little bit and kind of learn your trade a little bit more. Now, with Ciaran being a hooker, I mean, there's a queue in front of him. I mean, you look at, for a start, Cole Marsh a couple of days ago can play hooker, and then players still to come. We've had Johnny Vaughan play the 2024. We've had James Bell play the 2024. Obviously, Jake Burns, Moses, and by Darryl Clark. People will tell you that Jake Winfield and Morgan Knowles can also play nine. I don't want to see him play nine. I think it's a waste of their talents. Um, but there's a queue in front of him. So again, for the young lads, it is tough to make your debut, but there is always that kind of at the end of the tunnel, there is that light to make your first team debut if you are diligent enough and if you kind of keep that attitude and application up.
Yeah, I think Jake Burns is the one last season, isn't he? Coming through and showing that with application, you can get an opportunity and chance to show. Does the fact that we've named four hookers essentially in the squad this year say anything to you? We've obviously got Darryl Clark, Moses and Bai. Jake Burns is probably one, two, three, and then
Yeah.
Kieran is number four. Does that suggest that like you don't want to see your Morgan Knowles and the likes filling in at nine at some point? Is that why we've potentially put four hookers in there? Does that give you an opportunity if you needed to for Moses um, to play a bit in the halves if needed? Is this a little bit of future proofing if Moses is to move on at the end of the year when his contract ends? If Jake Burns becomes your backup hooker, does Kieran hopefully do enough to secure the fit that number three role in that position? Is that what we're looking at? Are we future proofing a little bit?
Possibly because again, like a couple of days ago, we spoke about Cole Marsh, who can play hooker and loose forward as well. So probably you're saying four, but it's probably five that we've got in the squad. I know he can play loose forward. It sounds like obviously it sounds a little bit like the Darryl Clark plays loose or Moses plays loose, but you'd rather him just stick to one position. But yeah, it could be a bit of future proofing. Really could. Um, I think I don't want to see Daryl Clark and Moses and Bai necessarily flogged and flogged and flogged at nine. I think last year we were painted into a corner a little bit, and Daryl Clark did have to do big minutes until he got injured. Um, and I don't want to see that. I want to see us keep players fresh. I'm not saying you just put lads in just for the sake of it, because there's a player who's going to come up in a couple of days, Harry Robertson, who people are clamouring for him to play pretty much every game next year, and I don't want to see that. But this is where you need to make sure your squad is filled with the right players. Hopefully, when you fill it with your young players, you are, as you said before, future proofing. You're keeping that production line going, and hopefully, you're finding that next kind of cab off the rank rather than having to go out and recruit. You've got them coming through. They already know the club. They already know how things work. They already know kind of the standards that are being set, and they just carry on the career with us seamlessly.
Yeah, and listen, I think it's fair to say, like, when you look at the young lads coming in from 27, 28 upwards in the squad, if one, maybe two of them do enough to remain at the club after a couple of years, we're doing well as a club, getting that many players coming through the academy. Not everyone makes it at Saints, and history proves that when you
No,
look at the squads over the last few years. But having the opportunity to have that opportunity to make the first team squad, if you prove to be good enough, excellent. But if you don't, to be able to do enough to have a professional rugby league career, whether that's at another Super League club in the Championship. You look at
yeah,
something like Taylor Pemberton, never quite made it at Saints, but he's at York now, and he seems to be having a successful career there. Still living the
yeah,
dream, playing professional
and
sport.
yeah, and yeah, I think he's loving life up there as well in York. I think he's played a bit of fullback as well for York last season. I just kept my eye on his career when we let him go. But yeah, you're right. You've got to keep that, and as I say, with the queue of players probably in front of Ciaran, it might be tough for him to break through this year. But again, I keep going back to Cole Marsh that we did a couple of days ago. If he gets his debut in the next 2 years, he'll be doing really, really well. And that's probably what he should be aiming for from a Saints point of view.
Is
For
it
the
hard
rest of
for
it, if he gets
is it harder for a youngster in a specialised position such as hooker to come through as opposed to a prop where you potentially play for a game, you can have a couple of injuries and you can be seventh choice prop and all of a sudden you're getting your chance on the bench.
possibly, yeah, possibly,
Bit like as a footballer, it's a lot harder to get your professional debut as a goalkeeper than it is playing in the centre of midfield.
yeah, where you might end up playing, as you say, two, three, four players because you've got substitutions and whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe so. All he's got to do is over the next couple of years just make sure that he keeps his head down, keeps working, takes any opportunity he can to go and play rugby, whether that's on dual reg again. I think we're just going to keep saying this for quite a few of the lads. But to go and get that opportunity to play reserves, just keep getting out there, keep working. And you know what? That queue in front of you will slowly kind of shrink and you'll leapfrog people. If you're the right person, the right fit, can keep your performance levels up, that queue in front of you will start getting smaller and smaller.
Yes. Like the queue when you're waiting for Oasis tickets. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with our number 31. Catch you soon.